Activator, and welcome to our TV show, My Spiritual GPS. So, today we have a very juicy topic. This applies not only to business owners, but also to all of us in general. What emotions affect your organs? So, we know that if we have a spiritual GPS, we have 3 points in that GPS, right? Where we are at this moment in time, where we want to be when we achieve our soul purpose and we're actually showing up and we're bringing to the world our gifts and talents. But somehow in the middle, we do have those baggages and some of those emotional issues at times that we just don't know why something triggers us. So today, I'm going to share with you, as a holistic physical therapist, as a human MRI, medical and business intuitive, that what you're feeling sends out this signal to the universe without you verbally saying it to other people. So the nonverbal communication is so important, not only with our relationships with one another, but also when we're doing business with one another. Because obviously we don't do business with people that we don't know, we don't like, or we don't trust. So these emotions, I'm going to go over some of the most common emotions, mostly the negative ones that actually trigger us. And where is it located in your body? Because you know, when you feel pain, numbness, tingling, some kind of weird sensation, your body is unconsciously talking to you, telling you to pay attention to it so that you can actually go back into the flow, go back into your centeredness and your integrated whole. So majority of our emotions is in our second or sacral chakra. So everybody has a pelvis, right? So when we're dancing, we actually feel good if we don't have any kind of pain or pinching nerve anywhere. And the emotions, do you notice how women, we somehow start gaining weight either when we have a baby or after delivering, right? Or we don't go back to our original weight, or maybe at a certain age. They say it's hormones. They say we're just getting old, but is that really true? I can tell you, not all the time. So what our mind tells us is not always the truth, because it doesn't know anything except what we were exposed to. What's our history like? So let me run down some of the different emotions that you feel and where does it normally linger in the body, okay? So the first one here is frustration. How many of you are frustrated? And there's different variances. We call it the cousins of frustration. Irritation and anger, right, are cousins of these, or sometimes resentment. So as a therapist, I do a lot of hands-on healing techniques. And when a person's liver, which is located on their right rib cage, is not quite working well, everybody, let's put our hand on our right rib cage and just take a deep breath and just kind of feel. You know how when you put your hand in front of your hood, like you know when the engine is running? I want you to just feel the sensation of your liver. Are you able to feel a hum or not? And normal movement of an organ, you would feel, even if it's on one side, there's like a little alternating, you know, like it's a skiing alternating like that. Okay, so as a physical therapist, we were taught that in integrative manual therapy, and I was holding my liver. So when you're upset or frustrated, angry, irritated, whether it's suppressed, repressed, or open, your liver is not going to move as smoothly and as sexily as it should. Okay, so that's one. Number two, hate, hurt, blame, shame, guilt, or indifference is in the heart. So hate is usually in the upper back. You know how between your shoulder blades, how many of you feel like tight there? Maybe just on one side versus the other, right side's male, left side's female. If you have any tinge of that, Now, sometimes these emotions, by the way, are yours, and sometimes you have allowed other people's emotions to come into your space. Okay, so it's not all yours. I am just giving you an indication that when you're having some symptoms there in these areas of the front of your chest or in the back, you may have some emotions that are hidden there. Okay. Next, if you have shoulder pain or upper arm pain of some sort, tingling, numbness, okay, and any variety of that, either you have a need to control or the need to be controlled. That's usually an indication of that. So especially for those, you know how people get diagnosed with frozen shoulder. And by the way, in our profession, frozen shoulder is something they say that is they don't know, idiopathic, they call it that. That means they don't know where it came from. Some people say people with diabetes are more prone to it, people with heart problems. A lot of times our body is telling us something is not quite right. Please take care of me. Can you please fix me now? Like that's what those negative emotions are indicating to us. But a lot of times, again, we just blow it off and we'll say, oh, I'm just gonna take a Tylenol or put Bengay or whatever essential oil you're using or something to help you get rid of the pain. And then it kind of goes away, subsides, but it comes back, right? And then it gets worse and worse. If it does that, so if it's purely physical, I've noticed this in my career, if it's purely physical, when you do a mechanical adjustment, so you go to a physical therapist or a chiropractor, it usually gets better. Okay, it doesn't come back. Even the mechanical alignment of the structures are good. But if it's beyond that, meaning they come back and the bone is out again, right? Or the muscles are spasming again, that means there's an underlying problem aside from what you think. A lot of times it could be emotional, but it could also be mental, like it's in your mind that something's wrong and you really need to take care of that, right? Sometimes it is spiritual. Okay. Now, the other thing that started happening, right? COVID, a lot of lung issues, a lot of grief, sadness, and deep sorrow. It's very interesting that a lot of people have some hidden grief, actually, and they haven't learned how to process it. Perhaps they don't know how. And that's why sometimes we need to ask someone else for help, is because we don't know anymore what to do, right? That's why we're here for each other, is for that reason. And later on in the show, I'm going to be bringing in a special guest who would actually help us with her tools on how to deal with it. Also, another tool. So there's many, many tools, but what resonates with you, right? If it calls upon you, then go ahead and do it. Sometimes we wait too long and it's too late. So why don't you, with the whatever symptom it is that you're feeling, if you've had it more than, well, it's not normal that within 7 to 10 days is normal inflammation. After that, you should get better. It is not normal to suffer for years. So I encourage you to not do that, right? Like really ask for help immediately. So lack of self-love, I notice this a lot, is pancreas. Again, who are the people diagnosed with this? Blood sugar issue, right? Diabetics. Some of my clients in the past, I specialized in lymphedema in physical therapy, which is for cancer patients who had breast cancer and other forms of cancer, who had swelling. Sometimes they have pancreatic cancer. So what do you think happens when you're out of love? You're also out of integrity with your higher self, with your body. Therefore, the mortality rate is really like high and it just goes very fast. Holding on, unable to release, right? Colon, that's your large intestine. If you're having digestive issues and you can't let go, you don't have a regular bowel movement, you're constipated, what are you holding on to? And when will you decide to let that go? It's very simple, right? It's easy to say, I should let that go. I need to let it go. But then most people don't let it go. And they think that as they get older, it's just going to get worse. So that's a belief system that we need to delete, right? We need to clear that, because that's not true. Because some people are pretty healthy because they don't really hold on to things, right? No attachment, because we enter here naked. We also leave naked. We leave with nothing. Okay. And last but not least, is the chronic negative emotion that people here in America have a lot of hip surgeries. I've seen it over and over again from the orthopedic surgeons. They refer to us for hip therapy. The hip and groin is where your chronic negative emotions lie. So if you think of your pelvic bowl, and obviously if you can't let go in the colon, right? So where do you think the toxin is going to sit? Right there, down below. It's going to make the belly bigger, right? And it's going to cause more stress to the body. So on the physical side, this is normally, if you are holistic, these are some of the things you could do is to clear your lymphatic system. So the lymphatic system is like the circulatory system, but it's all over the body, right? It's like the janitor system of the body. So you can use different oils like white fir, cypress, grapefruit, and you can massage these in the areas where you're having some pain. Or you can put it the whole spine, like from the neck all the way down along your spine to your low back. Or you can also use geranium, lime, and rosemary. If you're sensitive, you can apply a carrier oil like fractionated coconut oil, grapeseed oil, or whatever oil you desire before you apply these therapeutic grade oils. And if you have any questions, you can definitely email me or Facebook message me for how to use it, where to apply it, okay, all of that good stuff, okay? All right, and then let's see. Here's an affirmation for everyone. Go ahead and write this down because I think it would serve you if you know that you're breathing, you're doing your grounding, and you feel comfortable sharing your real feelings with others without criticizing. Because sometimes you get upset, you say it, but then you feel guilty for saying it. So see how you bring in again the negative toxicity towards you. So you want to be able to express yourself because we're there moment by moment and we can move the feeling. We can move that feeling and we can just feel good, right? I feel good energy flowing through all parts of me. So literally when you breathe in and out, you should be able to feel that oxygen rise and fall, right? Okay, awesome. So I'm going to bring in a very, very special guest today. And she is Catherine Hardy. She's actually a nurse, and she is called the Bad Habit Hacker. Hi, Catherine. How are you?
Hello, Vivian. It's nice to be on your show. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes, you're welcome. Okay, can I introduce you a little bit? So based on her bio, this is who she is. She left her successful career in nursing administration and in bedside nursing in ICUs and emergency departments after realizing the impact of hypnosis, and it can help overcome addictions, negative emotions, or whatever it is that they're suffering from, right? So Kathy, tell us, like, how do you help these clients? Let's say they have these negative emotions, right? And you know how that's a block, right? They can't really move forward because, and I remember I had this too before, you know, like you're blaming everybody else because like your business is not working, but you're blaming everybody else, but it's really not them. It's just an excuse for you not to deal with it, right? Sometimes, and sometimes it's so unconscious or subconscious that you just don't know that you're doing that thing, that pattern or habit that actually sabotages. So can you explain a little bit of how do you deal with that and how does hypnosis help with that?
Absolutely, Vivian. Thank you so much. Well, I became a hypnotist a little over 3 years ago, and I see clients by Zoom all over the United States in any time zone. I have found that anytime you are trying to make a change in your life, and many of us know exactly what we need to do to make those changes to, go on in our business, to develop our businesses, to take care of our bodies, to lose weight, to manage our interpersonal relationships better. Many of us could write a book on these subjects, and yet we find ourselves having difficulty actually following through. We find ourselves procrastinating, deciding that, maybe today is better spent playing with the kids than working on the business. whatever. And I found that anytime you are wanting to make an important change in your life and you're not able to, it's because you've got some subconscious blocks. And those subconscious blocks are not readily apparent to you because you don't have access on a daily basis with your conscious mind to your subconscious mind. So that's where hypnosis is so very helpful. Because when you are in a state of hypnosis, which is a normal and natural state, similar to what you go through every day on your way to sleep and on your way to wake up in the morning, when you are in that state of hypnosis, but you have a hypnotist guiding you, asking you questions and sort of helping you go through a process in your brain, a therapy process, you wouldn't normally be able to do that by yourself, because when you're in that state, where your subconscious awareness of life, of yourself, your own misperceptions of life, your own limiting beliefs are there. When you're in that state, your conscious mind is not engaged. So you're not able to evaluate and make changes yourself. That's why you need a guide, a hypnotherapist. So I see clients, I've been very active since COVID began with helping people quit smoking very successfully. That's a very successful thing to do with hypnosis. I've helped people lose weight. I help a lot of people with feelings of overwhelm, with feelings that just life is overwhelming. And let's face it, right now, life is overwhelming. The news about COVID is bad. There's a lot of uncertainty. Many of us feel worried, and we don't really know what's going to happen. But I want to tell your readers and your watchers one thing, Vivian, and that is that although stress is very damaging to your body, and it's damaging to your physical experience of life, your mental experience of life, your emotional experience of life, and your spiritual experience of life, that stress is hard on your immune system, and you are more likely to succumb to infections when you're highly stressed. We all know that. But here's the good news. Resilience, your ability to overcome stress, your ability to bounce back. Resilience is something that can be learned. And because this was a problem, I would say 70 or 80% of all the clients who come to me for any problem, 70 to 80% of them were telling me, and these are people that look fine on the outside. They've got jobs, they've got children and families, they take care of themselves, their car is running, they're managing very well in life, but inside they don't feel like they are. Inside, sometimes they even feel like an imposter in their own life. They're like, sometimes I just get overwhelmed. The emotion is just bubbling up from nowhere. I just don't know what to do. I can't think sometimes. I just feel like I need something, but I don't know what it is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So like you said, they're like a guide in their brain because they couldn't. It's like you're the bridge, right? Like the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, and then there's this missing bridge. It's like I want to get there, but I don't know how. And that's where we come to them. Well, they come to us for help. Basically, they come to you for help for these things. So that's excellent. Is there any other, is there a specific wave of the brain that people, because most people are afraid of hypnosis. Like I have some clients and I would recommend them to a hypnotherapist and they're like, no, I'm not comfortable. I don't know if I want to do that right now. Almost like
tell you about that. Hollywood has had a great time with hypnosis. They've just done crazy things with hypnosis. And of course, stage shows can make people feel uncomfortable about hypnosis. But stage shows, I have a love-hate feeling about them because stage shows also demonstrate how powerful the subconscious mind is.
Yeah, exactly.
And in hypnosis, we don't do those kinds of things. In hypnotherapy, we are using hypnosis for therapeutic techniques. And I developed a 6-week online program to help people learn how to manage emotional overwhelm. So depending on how much time we have today, I can share more or less about that.
Yeah, go ahead and share a little bit about. So give us an example of a client. You don't have to mention names based on HIPAA, right? How did that person start, and then what happened after a session or a few, group sessions like this?
Great. I've got a client named Liam who's a perfect example. Liam had smoked for 60 years. He was a retired physician, and he came to me and he said, I've got to stop. My new wife really wants me to stop. I want to do it for her as a gift of love. I know it's killing me. I do my own pulmonary function test. The numbers are getting worse. I notice like my vision's a little bit blurry. I can't run the way I used to. I need to stop smoking. So we did hypnosis, and in the very second session, he had an ab reaction in hypnosis. That is, he had like kind of like something was so unsettling, it pulled him right out of hypnosis. And he told me, Kathy, I'm going to tell you something I haven't told anyone. When I was 18 years old, I wanted to go to Vietnam. My buddies were going. My 3 best friends were going to Vietnam. My father said, no, please stay and do at least 1 year of college. He said, I wanted to go with my friends, but I honored my father. I went to college, and in 6 months, all 3 of my friends were dead.
Ew, wow.
He was sobbing. Here's a man, it had been 50 years. He was sobbing.
That's his grief
He was
finally coming out.
Not only grief, but a feeling of abandonment, a feeling that he betrayed his friends, a feeling of responsibility. So I used something, I put him back into hypnosis with his permission, and I used something I call the auditorium technique. And I had him and I in our present ages as elders in our communities, understanding the whole life cycle of people and understanding the bigger issues in life. I had to sit on the side of a stage looking out over an auditorium of all the 18-year-old men, the year that he decided not to go to Vietnam. We looked out over that sea of faces, and I told him, some of those men are going to go to Vietnam, and many of them are not going to come home. And I want you and I to ask ourselves, are those young men in the audience that didn't go to Vietnam, are they responsible for the deaths of the ones who did go? And he said, no. And I said, that's right. The responsibility for those deaths lies with the members of Congress who voted for this country to go to war. Those young men who didn't go and didn't die, do we want them, as elders in our community, do we want them to walk through life feeling ashamed and guilty about those deaths? No. And he said, no, I guess not. We don't. And I'm like, no, we don't. He was able to get a sense of himself, his place in really his whole life, in his country, in the universe, at a deep level. And that's something that we could have had that conversation with our conscious minds in the beta brainwave state, just like people do in counseling all over this country. Counseling is very popular. Counseling is not as effective as hypnosis for some problems. And this is a beautiful example. He emerged from hypnosis feeling lighter. He reported to me, well, it's been 11 months now, and I saw him recently, and he's a non-smoker for life. He's a non-smoker, and he'll be a non-smoker for the rest of his life.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. Awesome. Yeah, it's so true that when you finally get to the bottom of whatever the root cause of that is, right? Because it could be hidden because he's so busy. If he's seeing other clients, other patients, of course, his focus and attention would be helping and serving, but not even looking at him except for his health. When your health starts to fail, which is usually indicative of organ test, organ function, whatever it is, right? Or you can't breathe, you can't run, you can't, like, it's functional. That's the time we actually have to look at ourselves and go, what do I need to do to get to the root cause of this? Because there is a solution. Every problem has a solution. And I hope you guys get that from this show, right? This, my spiritual GPS is your negative emotion sometimes guides you to the right help, if you're willing to be vulnerable and open to that help. Right, Kathy?
Right.
Yes, yes. Okay, so I'm going to open it up. Thank you for that. So does anybody have a question about hypnosis, or even just with negative emotions? Because, you know, Kathy and I have been working with this for a while, and we can answer your questions. So any of the viewers watching right now, we have live viewers and they're posting on Facebook. So sometimes there's a delay. We want to answer your questions. So You can ask any question. Nothing is irrelevant. So Belen said, that's an amazing story. As a former nurse, I can relate. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, thank you. And so yeah, anyone has a question. So I'm going to wait a little bit, Kathy. So it's nice to see you. I know you wrote a book, right? Can you share with them, what is that book? Maybe they can read it and they can learn from that. What's the name of that book?
My first book is Migraine Relief with Hypnosis. And my second book is Quit Smoking for Good Without Gaining Weight.
Oh, that's amazing. And they can both find that in Amazon, right? You're a 2-time best-selling author. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So say that again. So Migraine Relief.
Migraine Relief with Hypnosis is the first book.
Okay.
And the second book is Quit Smoking for Good with Hypnosis Without Gaining Weight.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm sure a lot of the viewers can benefit from that, especially summertime is approaching. So for those of you who want to quit smoking and also, not gain any weight, right? Because usually the addiction is replaced by another addiction. Perfect. Okay. And for those of you, we're still waiting on the questions. And if you have any questions or comments on how to improve this show or how to find your GPS, right? Some people call it God positioning system. It's like we're all placed in the universe for a reason. And I know if you are fulfilling your soul purpose, your journey, we all have our stories, right? Our mess becomes our message somehow. And we learn how to grow and evolve through the messages and the messes that we have in life. But once we learn the lesson, it's a magnificent thing, right? Because we grow and expand and we help more people in the world. So I hope you guys get inspired by this. And if you have any questions, let me share with you where you can reach Kathy here. You can go to her website, by the way. Can you please say those words, Kathy?
SalishSeaHypnosis.com. The Salish Sea is the part of the Northwest coastal waters that were very important to indigenous people. And it's also a term that brings up the focus in this part of the world on conservation and respect for the ocean and the environment in the Northwest maritime area.
Wow.
It encompasses the waters off of Oregon, Washington, and Northern California, as well as up into British Columbia.
Nice. Okay. And this is where you can reach her. This is her email, info@salishseahypnosis.com. So this Managing Emotional Overwhelm, Kathy, is this like a course that's ongoing, or is there a beginning and an end? Like, is there a start date for this one?
Well, it's a 6-week course. It's going now. It includes self-study videos, 21 of them, a number of worksheets and exercises that you do on your own time. It takes about 4 hours a week to do this work. And then we have a weekly Zoom call. And the next class is beginning October 7th. I offer it about every 2 months. And the students in there right now are feeling like it's making a huge difference in their lives. I start out by teaching them emotional first aid, and then go into specifically identifying misperceptions and limiting beliefs in your own life that are holding you back through a series of different kind of exercises and some education. And then we talk about the secret language of feelings and how all feelings are good, even the bad ones, because they're like indicator lights on a car dashboard. They're letting you know that something in your life needs attention. And then we talk about healthy attention versus unhealthy attention. And the unhealthy attention would be distracting yourself in the form of too much food, alcohol, smoking, drug use, over-exercising, overworking, any of those things. And then we finish up the last 3 weeks of the program with what we're really focusing on, and that is learning how to manage your own state, your emotional state, your physical state, your psychological state, mental state, and as well as your spiritual state, just to be very aware of how you're feeling at any moment and have control over that. We
Right.
go over a whole week on the soundtrack. What's going on in your ears? What are you saying to yourself all day, every day? And getting a grip on that, because most people are pretty mean to themselves all the time. And that does significant damage to your self-esteem inside and your belief about yourself. And therefore, it changes your life experience. So we work a lot on that, because I want my students at the end of this program, I want you to have a command over your emotional state, how you're feeling state every day, all day. I want you to have a command over what's happening inside your mind, and no techniques to change that to help you feel better. You can feel better every day, and you don't have to change the people around you. That's the amazing thing. And finally, we end up with the last week is on sovereignty, and sovereignty is something that I want all of my students to cultivate in their life. Sovereignty means you have absolute power and control over your own life, and you can develop this in your life, and you can have a life that is your choice, doing what you want to do, being aware of what you need, because it's from that position of power and authority over yourself that you are most able to help other people. It's a very empowering course. I'm very happy with it. I'm constantly changing it. I learn something every time I go through it with each group of students. We have a live Zoom call once a week. Each person has a chance to talk about what's working for them, what's not working for them, and it's a great group support. We have a private Facebook group. The group is closed and private with a confidentiality expectation. And any of your viewers who would like to join this course, please email me and I'll give you the information. There's a whole page that lists out everything.
Thank you so much.
You're
And I
welcome.
do invite people to come to her. You can email her info@salishchypnosis.com. And you can get more information if you want to quit smoking. There's some form of addiction that you may have, because a lot of times it's just a form of addiction, right? And when you release that, you will be able to, like you said, have control of your life, have control of your emotions so it doesn't control you, and you can live your purpose with ease, grace, and flow. Thank you, Kathy, for being our special guest today. And for those of you who know that I will be going to Sedona actually next month, you can get the information here, viviandeguzman.com/healing retreat. We're already doing our meditation to prepare you for this big transformational event, because your life will change when you are able to unplug from your regular environment, especially if that's stressful for you. You need a little bit of silence, a little bit of really checking in of what you need. So go to this page on the screen, Healing Retreat, right? And you will be able to find out a little bit more about that. All right. Well, thank you, Kathy, for joining us today. And everyone, you have a great day. And I'll see you again tomorrow at 12 p.m. for our show. All right. Thank you so much. Oh, hold on a second before we say bye-bye. There is a question. What is the difference, this is for Kathy, between cognitive behavioral therapy and hypnotherapy?
Great question. Cognitive behavioral therapy is very helpful for many people and for a lot of different problems. Here's the difference. Hypnosis is often described as rapid change therapy because the results are so fast. It can actually feel like magic. It's so fast. And that is because you, in cognitive therapy, you're only using your conscious mind at the beta brainwave state. When we are talking and listening to each other, doing problems, working every day, we're in a beta brainwave state. And when you're in hypnosis, you're in the next state down, which is alpha. This is a state where you are kind of like on the edge of daydreaming. Maybe it's similar to this. If you're laying on the couch, maybe the end of the day, you're kind of watching television, not really. You hear the door slam next door. You can hear the dog barking. Someone comes in and talks to you. You don't really feel like answering. You might almost be asleep, but not quite. That's the alpha brainwave state. When you are in that state of mind, you have access to a deeper well of memories, of emotions. You are not so hypercritical. You're not trying to figure things out. You have more access to things, and change happens more readily there. That change can be deep and it can have a ripple effect in your life. So many people have tried counseling for years and then come to hypnosis and been able to make a change much more quickly. So I hope that's helpful.
Yes, very, very good. Thank you so much. That's a very good question, Rosemary. I hope that answers everyone else's question as well. And yeah, and I do say this, right? Even when I was doing physical therapy, in about 3 to 4 sessions, if you're not seeing a change, it's either you're not doing the right exercise or therapy, it's time to change, or perhaps that's not the right therapist for you, or perhaps you're not relaxed enough to receive. Right? You're not going into the alpha state, so to speak, so the body can actually heal, because we can't be go, go, go. The body can't repair itself when we're in that state. So perfect. Rosemary said she appreciates that response. Thank you. All right. So I guess that wraps up our show today. And again, Kathy, thank you so much for being here. And I hope everybody else has benefited from that. And you can research if you're a researcher. But if you need help immediately, you can email Kathy right here at info@salishhypnosis.com. Thank you. Everybody have a great day.